Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Triple Play Podcast, where we've had a couple things to celebrate. The Bengals won today.
Yes,
Was happy
sir.
about that.
The Panthers lost today.
Panthers are
Had
still
I
dog. Okay. Darn, PJ Walker's 2-1 in his NFL career now. Bummer. That's
We're
what
done.
happens when you can't throw for 100 yards. It's almost like it's the offensive coordinator.
I
Almost. I
well,
mean, I know he's not the greatest, but shoot, far he drove for more than 100 yards. Patriots got their third string quarterback out there throwing for 300. Like, come on, man. It's so
no,
frustrating.
it
I'm
is.
glad
It
I'm glad
is.
this is not a football video.
We're the Nationals of the NFL.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
That
All right,
is very sad. Anyways, all
tell them what we're
right.
talking about.
Top 10 starting pitchers of the 2022 season. Now, do you have an honorable mention today, Kobe?
Um, honorable mention. My honorable mention would be my boy Strider for sure. So, first of all, power stash, power arm, power amount of strikeouts.
hmm
So, doing things that only Randy Johnson could do. So bad taste in your mouth for being hurt, missing the bottom end of the season. I told you, I think it was like middle of the season. I said, Nick, when do you think it'll come into play the fact that Spencer Strider's never pitched this many innings? And it did. So
I mean, I don't know that it was a fact of pitching so many innings. It's just that he showed us early when he first started getting starts that he wasn't ready for it yet, like physically. Like he didn't have the stamina for it. And having that month off before that playoff start against the Phillies, you could see it. He was good for the first two innings and then lost every bit of gas. And it's just it's one of them, he's a young guy, and this is his first time being a full time starter too. And I don't know. I was very, very pleased with Spencer Strider
mhm.
this season, and I had him at my number 10. So I'll go over here. He pitched in 31 games. He started 20. Got moved into the rotation permanently in mid May. Had 131.2 innings, a 38.3 strikeout percentage, 8.5 walk percentage, 40.3 ground ball percentage, which is elite, a 2.67 ERA, and a 1.83 FIP. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be having that stat on all of these guys. It's called fielding independent pitching. It only counts the three true outcomes: a strikeout, a home run, and a walk, and that's how it evaluates pitchers. And that just suggests that Strider's an extremely good pitcher, and he got quite unlucky with his ERA to FIP gap.
Yep.
But and it had a 4.9 F4 on the season. That's a Fangraph score. All right.
Yep. Now, what'd you say his FIP was, by the way?
1.83, and once he entered the rotation, he had the lowest FIP of any starter, like from that moment on.
Yeah. My number 10 guy, I have another guy that didn't get to pitch as many innings this year. I would have liked to have seen what his end of year stats would have been. Not a strikeout guy by any means, and I'm talking about Tony Gonsolin of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Not a guy with some of the great analytics that you want to see. Like I said, he's not a strikeout guy, but he is a guy that done a good job of keeping people off the base paths, keeping people, off home plate, so to speak. But had a career year in ERA at 2.14. 16 wins, one loss in a shortened season. Definitely would
Yeah.
have been a 20-game winner in my opinion.
hmm
4.6 WAR looked good. You know, his whip was 0.875, actually 0.88 if you want to round up and everything. Don't get too fancy on us. That was lower than his career average. Like I said, 119 strikeouts for 130 innings, not too bad. But then when you're comparing it to guys who had, Sandy Alcantara, how many innings did he have? Like 220.
Right.
So if you're comparing his strikeouts to Tony Gonsolin, it's not going to look the greatest. But not a free agent until 2027. Arbitration eligible this upcoming year, so the Dodgers will have to, do a little talking there. But they've got him for a while.
Yeah.
He's young. He's 28 still.
But he's still on his rookie contract, so
Yep.
they'll have him for a few more years.
Yep. So I just think he's a guy that deserves a little bit of praise. He was a guy that was in Cy Young talks the first half of the year and stuff.
Yeah.
He missed too much time. So
hmm
Who
All
you got at
right.
9?
And I have at number 9, I have the 2021 NL Cy Young winner, Corbin Burns.
I have him at 8. I have him at 8.
Okay. On the year, started 33 games, had pitched 202 innings, had a 30.5 strikeout percentage, 6.4 walk percentage, 47% ground ball percentage, 2.94 ERA, 3.14 FIP, and that small of a difference. That's just what you should expect from Corbin Burns. And a 4.6 WAR. And the only reason that I had Strider so low on this list is because of just the innings pitched. Like all of these guys have far more innings pitched than him. So whenever we do our rankings heading into 2023, expect Spencer Strider to jump up on this list.
Yeah, and I had Corbin Burns as well. Strikeouts talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's always been a guy, like, even if his ERA wasn't necessarily quite, you know, it's still good. I mean, still, you know, under
That's
3,
a
2.94,
yeah.
but is it down there where some of these other guys above him are? No. But if you're asking me if I would rather face some of them or maybe Corbin Burns, I'd probably take some of them, just because Corbin Burns just induces a lot of strikeouts. Like, the guy just really knows, he can blow it by you. He's got nasty stuff. He's just always been good. He's a at this point, you know, even at only the age of 27, I consider Corbin Burns a veteran in this league. Like, he's a
Yeah.
veteran by, like, he's
He's a
been
veteran by
good.
status.
Yeah, he's been good long enough that you would almost consider him like a 32 or 33-year-old that's doing the same thing.
Right.
You know, so no, but I had him at 8. My number 9 was Maximus Freed. We're starting calling him Maximus. So let me pull up the numbers here on old Freed. Did you have him a little too far up for you to talk about him right this second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Max Fried, ERA speaks for itself, 2.48. You love to see it. WHIP was a little higher, but it was below his career average. So he's still having a career year there. Never been a tremendous strikeout guy, but 170, I feel like, is a pretty good number for him. That's just my
and
opinion.
185 innings. You know,
Yeah.
it's an innings eater. That's your ace.
Yeah,
And he
absolutely.
is
And
an ace. You know.
he's a dog. You know,
Yeah.
he goes out there and he wants the big moment, wants to have the spotlight on him. I know it hasn't worked out as many times in the postseason, but then, you know, we could talk about Game 6 of the World Series last year, and, you know, he really got it done, and probably could have continued to get it done out there if they'd have just left him in. He probably could have. But like you said, 30 games started this year. You know, he went out there pretty much. I think they delayed one of his starts. Do you remember that? I
Yeah.
think it was like one delayed start, and that was it. Like, just went out there and got and never really, hardly ever just got lit up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe like once or twice, period, and one of them being the playoff game.
All right.
So he's not a guy that's going to get in a lot of walk trouble.
No, he rarely walks anymore.
Yeah, he'll go right at you, and his nickname is Maximus. I didn't even know that. But anyway, you know, I thought I created something, but apparently not. But Max Fried, he deserves all the respect at number 9, in my opinion. I guess we'll have to go with your number 8.
All right. At my number 8, and I know you suggested that I would probably have him on here in this video. That's Mr. Zach Gallen of.
I got him at 7.
Hey, that is Mr. Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I am a Zach Gallen stan. Zach Gallen is a king. He deserves to be on a good team, but sorry, I feel bad for him.
No.
He started 31 games through 184 innings, had a 26.9 strikeout percentage, 6.6 walk percentage, 46 ground ball percentage, a 2.54 ERA, and a 3.05 FIP. And I'm going to be honest, I think the reason that FIP is higher is because he's not the biggest strikeout guy. He just works mainly off of contact.
Yeah.
And that's why your FIP is, that's why Strider's FIP is so good, is he doesn't allow runs and he strikes out an insane amount of people.
Yeah. And Gallen, the first guy I think we've talked about other than Strider that has more strikeouts than innings pitched. So career year in WHIP, you know, career year in ERA. You know, this team got more competitive this year, and that's only going to help a guy like Zach Gallen. You know, somebody who's only 27. Hopefully, he's got 7, 8 more years of dominant pitching in him. If he could find the youthfulness of our number 1 guy, You know, if he could find that somewhere, maybe it's longer than that, but he'll be a free agent in 2026. By that time, he'll be around the 30, 31 mark. I'd expect a pretty good payday at that point, but
Yeah.
this guy, he started 31 games. So talk about a dog.
Yeah, if you're starting 30 plus games, you're doing your job as a starting pitcher. All right. Who you got at number 8?
Number 8, I had Corbin Burns. We already talked
Oh,
about
yeah,
Corbin
yeah,
Burns.
yeah.
And we've actually
All
already
right.
talked about my number 7, Zach Gallen, so it's your turn again.
Oh, good Lord. Let me look up his stats. Now this man can do it from both sides of the plate. Or both sides of the ball.
You have him this low?
Yeah, just because of just he's a hitter too. Like I don't know.
But what can we count him as other than this?
He's a DH.
Oh, so you want it? Okay. Well, he's too far up for me to talk about him right now. So
Well, I mean that's fine.
you go ahead.
Let me see if I can find his stats because we're being difficult
I
here
got his
on.
hitting stats. I got.
Well, who cares about hitting stats in a pitcher argument?
Not right now. We don't.
Hold on.
Is there Shohei Ohtani the pitcher? Can I
That's
search
what
up?
that's what I'm trying to find.
Are there 2 of them?
Oh, here we go.
got
Here
some
we go.
stats.
Here we
I've
go.
got
Watch
okay.
out. Watch out. Watch
Okay.
out. All right. Started 28 games. Through 166 innings. That's why I have him a little lower. 11 points. 87 strikeouts per 9. A 2.39 walks per 9. Averaging a 3/4 of a home run per 9. I mean, he's just a beast. A 2.33 ERA. A 2.4 FIP, so I mean, right next to each other, and a 5.6 WAR pitching. So I mean, he's a G. I ain't denying that, you know.
Absolutely, and I'll talk about him a little more when it gets down to me. That was your number 7, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can go first with number 6, and this is a guy. I don't know if you have him any further because this is another guy that missed a little time.
It's probably the same person. I'm almost confident.
Okay, Shane McClanahan.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both have him right there.
Mm-hmm.
And goodness gracious, a guy that you wish you could put up even higher.
Mm-hmm. And I have him lower because of his innings because he missed time.
Yep, 166 innings, but 194 strikeouts.
Yeah.
More strikeout. Wait, now Gallen was 192 strikeouts, maybe.
I can't remember.
It's right there. It's right there too. 192, 195. But then he's only pitched 166 innings. McClanahan has. So, you know, the Rays missed him for a stretch where we thought that the Rays could be like the 3rd seed in the wild card or the first wild card seed. Then he goes down, misses a stretch, and now they're just trying to get in the playoffs, you know, so to speak. But then, you know, they kind of end up right where they were going to be. But 25 years old. Okay, that's the first thing that you should start with. Still started 28 games, 2.54 ERA, 12-8. The run support just wasn't there for the Rays this year as much as it has been in years past. Some key guys missed some time, though. We can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Whipped down as far as what he had done in his career. Now, FIP was at 3.00. I didn't know if you wanted to hit that at all or anything.
Not a big enough gap, and he has a 50% ground ball rate, so that's partly why. And I'll say only a 30% strikeout rate. But if his strikeout rate's higher and his ground ball rate's lower, his FIP looks better. Like he's still like this is what you should expect from McClanahan every year. Like he's a good pitcher, great pitcher.
Yeah, I'll give you a stat here. He pitched 43 more innings this year and gave up 4 less hits.
Yeah.
Like think about that for a minute. Like that's crazy. Young. He's so young too. We've got several more years of Mr. McClanahan to think about before he starts the dip of all pitchers. But so number 6 was the same for both of us. Let's see where we're at on number 5. Do you want to start the party on number 5?
I can, and this is someone that the Braves have had quite a bit of postseason success against, and ironically, we're both out of the postseason now.
Yeah, I've got him too.
Yeah, Mr. Julio Urias.
Yep.
He started in 31 games, had 175 innings pitched, 24.1 strikeout percentage, struck out less batters, or had less than 9 strikeouts for 9 innings.
Mhm.
A 6% walk percentage, and just under a 40% ground ball rate. 2.16 ERA, a 3.71 FIP. That tells me a little bit lucky, probably. But we've seen Julio Urias be good in the past, so it's not a
Yeah.
surprise. And it may just be one of them things where most of the runs that he gave up this year were just on solo homers, or something like that. Or just it just so happened that a lot of his runners scored based on 3 true outcome results.
Yeah.
But I mean,
30
Julio Urias is a great pitcher.
yeah,
Anyways.
31 games started with only a 2.16 ERA. That's pretty dumb. Like, and the
Yeah.
fact that he's only 17-7 with that ERA on the Dodgers, like,
Mhm.
makes me wonder. Like, come on, guys, we got these
Yeah.
kind of hitters, and we're not a 20 game winner with a 2.16, and we started 31 games.
Right.
Like, shoo, like I do think he probably just got unlucky several times.
Mhm.
But I will say another guy that had a career year, and you're going to see this a lot. I mean, just in this list, if you're a top 10 guy in the league for that season, you probably had a career year. A big part
Yeah.
of the World Series run a couple years ago, actually threw the last out. So I mean, like, struck the last guy out to win it.
Yeah.
I I mean, it is what it is. Like, he's a great left-handed pitcher. 2
Yeah.
years from now, he'll be a free agent, and we'll see what happens then because he'll only be 28 years old at the time.
Money.
Money, money, money.
All right. Did you have Arias at 5 as well?
I did.
Okay. Go ahead with your number 4 because I know mine's different than yours.
You know it is.
Mhm.
Oh, I know who it is then
Yeah.
too. Well, at number 4, I have a guy that you probably have around number 3 or maybe even 2. Mr. Dylan Cease of the Chicago White Sox. I
Mhm.
wanted to put him at 3, but I gave respect to a guy that threw way too many innings for the season. But so Dylan Cease at the 4 spot for me. Uh, 32 games started.
Mhm.
Work like most games we've seen out of anybody. 184 innings pitched, 227 strikeouts. Like, if you want to talk about a guy who is getting on Corbin Burns' level of strikeouts, but has Julio Urias' level of ERA, like, he's the best of both worlds. 14-8, not the greatest. Okay, but you got to think about how much the White Sox struggled, especially at the
Mhm.
beginning of the year. They were absolutely pitiful at
Yeah.
the beginning of the year. His FIP came down again this year. It came down another 0.3 points again this year. So he's progressing nicely. He's
Mhm.
only 26.
Yeah.
He's only going to get better for a team that should be more competitive next
Mhm.
year, you'd like to think. But he threw almost 20 more innings this year and allowed 13 fewer hits.
Yeah.
So, and allowed almost 30 fewer runs.
Yeah.
So he's just getting crazy. This is just a crazy level of dominance at the age of 26. I mean, him and Urias both. Like, a lot of this list is young pitchers, to be fair.
Mhm. So my number 4 is someone Colby's already talked about, but I'm gonna give you a few different stats, and that's Max Fried, my ace. He started 30 games, through 185 innings, 185 and a third, excuse me. Had a 23.2% strikeout rate. He's not a big strikeout guy. 4.4% walk rate, one of the best in the league. League average is 8%, so he's almost twice as good as league average at walking people. And a 51.2% ground ball rate, and a 2.48 ERA and a 2.70 FIP. So I mean, something that close, that's what you should expect, and a 5.0 WAR. I mean, another great year from Fried, and I told Colby this before we started. I value run limitation and innings as much as anything, and
Hmm.
strikeouts can be the deciding factor if someone has similar stats that I look for.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Your number 3.
My number 3 is Mr. Sandy Alcantara
Mm-hmm.
of the Miami Marlins. And the thing that sticks out the most to me, I guess, right off the top is, like, he was 14-9 with the Marlins. Like,
Yeah.
bro's a 25 game winner with any other team. If he's 14-9 with the Marlins, but 32 games started, we're right back to that with Dylan Cease being 32 games. 2.28 ERA. But the fact is that the Marlins don't have a bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be interested to see what happens next year with Sandy, if there's some injury concern like throughout the season for how many innings he had to pitch. 228 innings. This guy was going full length so much. Like it just felt like every time he pitched, you were like, oh well, he went another 9 shutout, another 9 shutout. 207 strikeouts, so not, compared to the inning pitch, still really good, but compared to the innings pitch, we've seen some guys the past couple that have been a little bit better. Cease, McClanahan, those guys. Career
Yeah.
year and WHIP. Just career year altogether for
Mm-hmm.
Sandy. But everybody knew that. I think everybody knew that he could go to this level. I think everybody
Mm-hmm.
knew that he had the talent, and that he just kind of had to put it all together on a team that's not the greatest.
Right.
Like now, the Marlins could mess around and beat you by
Mm-hmm.
all means, but they're not gonna surprise you, so to speak.
Right.
So yeah, he's my number 3.
He's my number 3 as well. And I'll go into some of the different analytics. Had a 23.4 strikeout percentage, 5.6 walk percentage, so well above or well below, or I guess no, it should still be above, well above league average. A 53.4% ground ball rate, 2.28 ERA, and a 2.99 FIP. And that's just because Sandy, although he does throw a lot of innings and get a lot of strikeouts, he doesn't strike out a lot of batters, like in terms of batters faced. But a 5.7 WAR. Career year for Sandy, should get. Oh no, he already signed an extension last offseason. Dang, they're lucky. Got him for 11.2 average annual value. That's
Yeah.
insane. Good
Yeah.
good job, Marlins.
Yeah, for sure. I both of our number 2s have already been talked about
Mhm.
at this point. Like, now mine is Shohei Ohtani.
Do you have him there because of his hitting?
Now I have him there a little bit because of his hitting, but I
Okay,
also have
no.
him there. I also have him there for the fact that at the end of the season, like I know he's only thrown 166 innings, okay, but at the end of the season, he took it to a level of just pure and out dominance. Like that's where you see like a lot of this differential in his innings and Ks, because I feel like at the end of the season, I feel like throughout the season they're almost like, all right, Shohei, let's not get hurt out there, like let's be careful out there, don't throw it too hard, and then at the end of the season it's like, okay, we're out of the playoff race, I got a couple more starts left, let me just absolutely chuck heat, and it goes 166 innings, 219 strikeouts. Last year we had some control issues. In my opinion, Nick, you'd have to look back at those walks for me. I'm not quite on a screen where I can do that right now. But 44 walks this year, way, more. You consider. He still only had 166 innings, so around those guys that he's with, it could have went up a little bit more. But I feel like his control was a little better this year. His whip is right around the types of guys that you want to see it around, like guys like Manoah has a .99, Alcantara has a .98. So, him being at 1.01, you're not too worried about it. 15-9 on, once again, a team that is not super competent when it comes to hitting the ball.
Right.
Other than himself and Mike Trout and the occasional just somebody out of nowhere. Another guy that's in a situation where you'd like to see him be able to get more wins. So many guys on this list, you're like, dang, what if this guy had a lineup around him?
Yeah.
And, just looking at him and him being my number 2, there's just a lot of guys that I wish could have been on this top 10 list before we get to number 1 here. And you talk about your number 2, but I put Shohei at 2 just because I know what he could be if they were like, hey, go out there and you're going to worry about pitching. And, that's what you're going to do all season. So you just worry about go out there and do that. It's untelling the strikeout numbers that we could see.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing I think will hold Shohei back most pitching wise is that they're going to protect him as much as they can, especially if they are going to be competitive in a playoff race. They're protecting the crap out of him and Trout.
yeah,
I mean, they have to though,
for sure.
But moving on to my number 2, now Colby, I think you had him at 4, right? Dylan Cease.
Yes, I did.
So Colby's already covered some of his stats. I'm gonna give you some different ones. 184 innings. One of the higher ones in the league. 30.4 strikeout percentage. 10.4 walk rate. 38.8 ground ball percentage, 2.2 ERA, and a 3.10 FIP. The reason that FIP's probably so high is just because he does walk some guys. But this is the kind of pitcher I think Dylan Cease should be expected to be going forward, because he is an elite strikeout pitcher, and he's just a gamer, to be honest with you. Just watching him pitch is fun. And I mean, he's a whole different beast. But Kobe, you want to tell them who our shared number one is?
Yeah, number one, a guy that's over 10 years older than pretty much every other guy on this list.
Yeah.
Like, I think 28 was the oldest we had anybody else. This guy's 39, and his name is Justin Verlander. And he came back this year after missing almost 2 full years, or was it 2 full years?
No, it was well, he missed part of the COVID season and then the full 2021 season.
Okay, I thought he had got hurt pretty early in that COVID season. That was just that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I could have been wrong, but you know, 1.75 ERA. That's where you got to start. Didn't get to pitch as many innings. Missed a couple weeks down the stretch there, but still 18-4. Would have been a 20 game winner for sure. 28 games started at 39 years old. That's crazy automatically.
1.75 ERA at 39 years old.
39. 175 innings pitched and had 185 strikeouts. So he's still above the innings pitched with his strikeouts. Career year in WHIP, and you got to think about, he was below his career average in WHIP. Don't know if it was absolutely a career year. Probably pretty close, if not, though, because you got to think about how good Justin Verlander was in the past as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's eclipsing every bit of that with what he done this year at the age of 39.
Right.
This guy was a second overall pick for the Detroit Tigers and was great for them for several years. And now he's doing this at the age of 39 with a contender who you would think has a pretty good chance at winning this World Series at this point.
Yeah.
You just can't say enough good things about what he has done at the age that he's done it.
No, I mean, he's insane. He still has a 2.49 WHIP to that 1.75 ERA, and Verlander's not really a home run guy, but and he's not a walk guy either, but he doesn't strike out a ton of guys. But I mean, Justin Verlander, the best year of his career at 39 years old. That's nuts to even think about. I'll be interested to see how much he gets paid this offseason.
Yeah,
because he signed that 1 year, $25 million deal, and that's steal of the century, But
right. Last second predictions on Cy Youngs. Now AL were both Verlander, but
yeah.
NL, any changes in the NL for you?
I mean, I thought Fried would win it. I thought he should win it. I don't think he will win it.
Yeah.
Just because I think the Cy Young should be valued the exact same way the MVP is.
Yeah. I think it could be. It could definitely. I think they're going to value the work that Sandy put in, just like how much he tried to do for a team that just wasn't as good.
Yeah.
So I think they will value that pretty highly. So I think he just has to get it at that point.
Yeah.
Well, he joins Verlander has joined Aaron Judge and Goldschmidt on pretty much, like, I guess you could say, our all MLB team almost. Like
they're definitely on it.
Yeah, but Nick, do you want to go ahead and spin the wheel live and see what our next topic is going to be?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Get the wheel out here. Show him the phone case.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jamar. Oh, Jamar. 2 touchdowns today, looking like something. T. Higgins actually looking like a football player today. He actually, they told him he could run onto the field. What do we got?
Load.
I can't see it.
It's left field, but it won't
left field. I saw the L. All right, left field. Ooh, there's some big names in left field.
Yeah, but it's a lot of garbage.
It is. It's a lot of guys that hit a lot of home runs, but they're terrible in a lot of other ways.
Yeah,
like a lot of strikeouts in left field.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like a lot of the outfield can be kind of like that. We felt pretty thin when we were doing center field as well. So
it'd be easier to do top 10 outfielders instead of top 10 single position.
You'd be talking about 10 absolute studs.
Right.
For sure. All right. Well, I'm good if you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. There's gonna be a video pop up under Colby and an option to subscribe under me. Um,
I about knocked my phone off.
you gotta hit that subscribe button and go watch that video and comment down below what you think about our rankings and leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed.
Hey, real quick, comment down below and see how long you think it is before they fire Steve Wilkes. How has a team ever fired 2 coaches in 1 year?
I don't know, but I mean, there ain't no point in firing him. There ain't nothing.
There's not. No, he's got he's went okay. Comment down below and see when they're gonna fire Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, hopefully next
Give
week.
me, give me.
Gosh.
Oh,
All
jeez.
right.
Thanks.
Well, yep.